If you're looking for the latest word in all things entertainment, stay right here. Coming up in the program, we've got Hollywood Headlines with Michael Mathis, an on-the-street report from Nick Ewing, Under the Radar with Ryan Miller, and a whole lot more.
So, sit back and get comfortable because from Ball State University, The Real Deal starts now.
Hello, and welcome to The Real Deal, Ball State's one and only entertainment news show. I'm Connor Fack.
And I'm Ramel Tadai. While we're officially done with summer blockbusters and the end-of-the-year prestige season has yet to begin, Hollywood still keeps churning out new flicks. With news on upcoming films in both the near and far future, here's Michael Mathis with Hollywood Headlines. Michael?
Thanks, guys. This time around, I would like to talk about some movies that are coming to the theater in the near future. The first one is a movie I did not see coming, Taken 3, or should I say Taken and replace the E with a 3. The 2008 original saw Neeson traveling through Europe, creating havoc after an Alabama gang captured his daughter, Kim, played by Maggie Grace, as she vacationed in Paris. What was about as subtle as a shot to the throat with a sledgehammer, there's no denying the fact that Taken was riotously entertaining. Plus, it possessed enough thrills, spills, and surprises to gain praise from even the most hardened film cynic. The fact that it went to gross over $225 million around the world from a budget of just $25 million meant that a sequel was formality. Yet, when Taken 2 arrived in 2012, it lacked the charm or excitement of the original and was ravaged by critics. However, it still did good at the box office, and it even managed to surpass the preceders' total taken in $375 million. Liam Neeson admitted that the third installment is an attempt to refresh the saga. This time, no more traveling, he declared. If my daughter was taken again on trip, Brian Mills would certainly locked up for bad parenting. I hope this film will prove that to us that the Taken franchise is not dead. Next up, between This Is the End, Superbad, and Neighbors, Seth Rogen has essentially built an army of fiercely funny folk, and quite a few of these are reassembling for a promising new comedy. It's like The Avengers, but with goofballs instead of superheroes. Seth Rogen and his producing partner, Evan Goldberg, Point Grey Pictures, are teaming up with Will Ferrell and Adam McKay's Gary Sanchez Productions and Joseph Drake's Good Universe to produce a new comedy from Ben Schwartz. If that name seems familiar, that'd be because this Emmy Award-winning writer has made a major mark on television, playing the outlandish Jean Ralphio on Parks and Recreation. Even though no one has leaked about what the film will be about, I can already tell you I'll be there opening night of the film. And last but not least, at the end of this week, we will get to see David Fincher's adaptation of Gillian Flynn's New York bestseller, Gone Girl, which is coming out October 3rd. Nick Ewing, played by Ben Affleck, reports that his wife, Amy, has gone missing. Under pressure from the police and growing media frenzy, Nick's portrait of blissful union begins to crumble. Soon his lies, deceits, and strange behavior become everyone asking the same question. Did Nick Ewing really kill his wife? I'm really excited to see where the Spike Club and Social Network director will take this movie. Well, that is all for your Hollywood Headlines. I'm Michael Mathis. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Michael. We'll have to keep an eye on those films at the box office.
And in case you haven't been keeping an eye on TV lately, you might have missed an animated collision of colossal proportions. This past Sunday, the characters of the acclaimed Fox series The Simpsons and Family Guy came together in the long-awaited crossover special, The Simpsons Guy.
Since both series have been so influential to primetime animated comedies, we wanted to know what you, the viewers, thought about the crossover. So we sent Nick Ewing out to find out in another segment of On the Street. Nick?
Hey guys, Nick Ewing here with The Real Deal. So you may have heard of The Simpsons, Family Guy. They're both pretty popular Fox cartoons. Well, recently Fox decided to include Family Guy characters in an episode of The Simpsons. So I'm out here at Ball State, and I'm going to ask you guys how you feel about that episode. Hey, did you watch the Simpsons episode? The Family Guy Simpsons crossover? You didn't watch it?
I don't watch it. No.
Why not?
I don't know.
Did you watch the show? So far, I haven't been able to find anybody that watched the Simpsons Family Guy episode. Watch the Simpsons Family Guy episode? No? Simpsons? You watch The Simpsons? Do you watch The Simpsons? No. Nobody watches The Simpsons.
I thought some parts were really funny because I know like about The Simpsons, and I thought it was cool that they like went into their town, but I don't know, it wasn't as funny as I thought it was gonna be.
So you didn't watch the episode, but what did you hear about it?
I heard it sucked really bad.
I know my roommate watched it and he thought it was pretty good. So.
Your roommate watched it, and he said it was pretty good.
Yeah, he enjoyed it. He thought it was pretty crazy. So that's how I heard about it. My roommate watched it.
Okay.
So.
I did think it was funny. Thought they could have done more with it though. Seen more of a connection between like all the characters. Like there were a few characters that like paired up like Bart and Stewie, and then like Meg and Lisa, and then like I just figured they'd try and integrate all the characters together, but they didn't really do that as much as I would hope.
Well, it took us a while to find people to actually watch the show, but once we did, you guys had mixed opinions on it. Some people thought it was funny, some people thought kind of a wasted potential. It'll be interesting to see if Fox ever decides to do another crossover like that again. I'm Nick Ewing, back to you guys.
Thanks, Nick. Any way you look at it, though, I don't think either of the show's creators are going to do another crossover soon.
But we certainly have more show coming up soon. After this break, we still have Alison Edmunds suggesting a show, Ryan Miller educating us on an actor, and more. Don't go far.
Dolphins feel friendship. It feels like they do. That's not a bad thing.
Is everybody set? Okay.
Send hope.
But life is unpredictable and irrational and complicated. And I want a complicated life.
I love to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Never seen one do that before.
Look back. I need to know that you're gonna follow the rules.
Brick by brick, body by body. What do you see when you look at me? What do you see when you look at me?
It's too late to start over.
Welcome back. Here at The Real Deal, we like to think of ourselves as both an informational and educational program. And part of that initiative involves cluing you into TV shows that are awesome, but relatively obscure.
So, on that note, we have Alison Edmunds with our comparative segment. If you like this, then check out this. What do you have discovered, Alison?
Hello, everyone. Today I will be talking about two television shows that in some ways go hand in hand. Now, many of you have heard of the television show Dexter, right? Okay, well, if you haven't, you've definitely been missing out. Now, Dexter is a man named Dexter Morgan, a blood spatter pattern analyst for the Miami Metro Police Department, who lives a whole different life as a serial killer. Now, his goal is to hunt down criminals who have slipped through the cracks of the justice system. The show aired between the years of 2006 through 2013 with 8 seasons total. Now, Dexter received an overall 4 straight Primetime Emmy nominations for Best Drama Series in its first 4 seasons. Now, if you ask me, that's pretty impressive. Now, Showtime announced that the 8th season would be the last season of the show, and they should be glad that they did because the season 8 premiere was the most watched Dexter episode with more than 3 million viewers total for airings that night. Now, the show is a crazy thriller with action-packed scenes and plenty of mystery to keep you on the edge of your seat. So if you like all these kinds of things, then I definitely have a show that is a must-see for you, and that show is called Prison Break. Now, not only does the title of the television show sound intriguing, but when you actually watch it, you're going to be addicted. Originally airing on Fox from 2005 to 2009, Prison Break is about a man named Michael Schofield who has a brother sentenced to death row. Now, Michael purposely gets himself into the same jail as his brother in order to set up the perfect getaway for the both of them. Each individual character has their own important backstory, which you can find out about in the 2nd season of the show. And the things that these brothers do for each other make it an even better thriller. Prison Break has action, violence, mystery, and even a little love, for those who are into that sort of thing. Now, this show isn't as popular as Dexter, but it is definitely worth your time. Now, I personally started the show at the beginning of April of this year, and I managed to to finish all 4 seasons in just 4 weeks. Yes, the show is that good. I'm glad that my friends told me to watch the show because it was truly amazing. And I've really considered watching the whole thing all over again because I love it that much. So if you're ever bored and want a new show to get addicted to, you can find all 4 seasons of Prison Break on Netflix, or you can buy each season on Amazon Prime for less than $15. Well, that's all from me here in this segment of If You Like This, Then Check This Out. I'm going to send it right on back to our lovely host.
Thanks, Allison. The criminal underworld always makes for captivating television, doesn't it?
Well, as long as I'm watching from the safety of my living room, sure. And that's not the only prison-centered show we've got for you on the program, but unfortunately, we have to take another break already.
Darn. Well, when we come back, we have Ryan Miller highlighting an actor who's been flying under the radar, and Chauncey Baker delving into the production side of TV, and much, much more. Don't miss it.
Welcome back. We were talking about prisons before the break, and specifically TV shows set in them.
And while the subject of our next segment is most well known for appearing on a prison show, he certainly seems poised to make the jump into stardom. Here's Ryan Miller with Under the Radar. Ryan?
Thanks, guys. For this week's Under the Radar, I have chosen Matt McGorry, or better known as the prison security guard John Bennett, from Orange is the New Black. Matt McGorry is still fresh in his acting career, his only starring role being the extremely low-budget 2006 film Thursday. Since then, his biggest accomplishment has been landing a supportive role in Orange is the New Black, and also landing a role on the new ABC drama How to Get Away with Murder. In the beginning season of Orange is the New Black, McGorry only plays a minor part, falling in love with an inmate as the series progresses. However, we learn that the budding romance starts to play more of a significant part in the series, making his role that much more important. I feel that he really nails the part, especially as it plays a bigger part in the series in Season 2. Still, being a young actor, he fits into roles suited for a forbidden heartthrob or the average college student. As both shows gain more popularity, this actor's career will surely skyrocket as well. In the current stage of his career, I could see him working on other dramas or hopefully one day a big blockbuster movie. I could even see him landing a role in a popular Marvel or DC Comics television series. But that's just my personal opinion. I really hope to see this actor's career take off in the near future, even though he doesn't seem to be in the running for any major roles as of yet. This has been Ryan Miller with this week's Under the Radar.
Thank you, Ryan. We can only hope that your well wishes for McGorry come true.
But the decision of whether an actor makes it big or not often lie in the hands of the people the public mostly know nothing about. To help fix that, we have Chauncey Baker illuminating one of the guys that makes TV happen. Here he is with Showrunner Spotlight. Chauncey?
Have you ever wondered about who runs our favorite TV shows? Oh yeah, so have I. One guy in particular has been behind 2 of the most famous entertaining crime shows of the last decade. This man is Kurt Sutter. Sutter, who started out as the writer for The Shield, you know, the one about crooked cops that starred Michael Chiklis, also known as the guy that played Thing in the Fantastic Four movies. While Sutter was not the creator of The Shield, he was an integral part of the final production of the episodes. He even played an Armenian hitman named Margos Desarian. The show itself asks questions about whether or not the ends justify the means in law enforcement. In several instances on the show, Vic Mackey, you know, the guy Chiklis plays, plants evidence and beats the living tar out of several suspects. He and his squad even steal dirty money and place it into a fund for themselves. He ain't no Dirty Harry when it comes to morality. While the show was extremely popular at its time, its legacy has kind of faded into obscurity. To be frank, it was the first basic cable TV show that used profanity worse than what was allowed before primetime hours, also known as anything worse than the word damn. However, what most of us here at The Real Deal know Sutter for is creating the hit series Sons of Anarchy about an outlaw motorcycle gang in California. Like I actually needed to tell you that. Whilst prepping for the show, Sutter spent time with an actual gang in Northern California. Talk about dedication. Sutter's distinctive amongst other showrunners because not only did he create the show, he has directed, written, and starred in several of the episodes, sometimes doing all 3 at the same time. He portrays Otto, the incarcerated club member. Otto is both tragic and a funny figure in the series, due to his devotion to his club. He bites off his own tongue in prison just to keep from talking to the ATF, who want to bust Sam Crow for gun running, amongst other crimes. Even cooler yet, he's married to Katie Segal, his co-star on the show. Sons of Anarchy is currently in its final season, but don't fret, because Kurt Sutter is currently in talks with FX to create a prequel series set in the 1960s. Regardless, I am thrilled about what Kurt Sutter will roll out next. I'm Chauncey Baker, and this has been Showrunner Spotlight.
Thanks, Chauncey. It's not often that we get to look into who actually comes up with all the ideas that we love. I think it's something we'll look more into the future.
Speaking of things we love, Ramel and I are going to take our final word to remember some favorite shows that left us too soon. First, though, we have our last break. Be back in a bit.
Stay back, everybody, stay back. I did not kill my wife. I am not a murderer.
You know how much I love you, no matter what happens.
Dad? Looks like the end of the world.
One of these days, the sky's gonna break and everything.
Glad you stayed with us. As we've mentioned previously, pilot season for fall is here, and new shows are possible because networks cancel old shows for various reasons. A lot of times the reasons are justified, but even so, some cancellations feel personal.
Yeah, so this time Connor and I are going to reach back and remember 2 programs that the networks pulled the plug on before their time was up. Made meaningful because, hey, we're still watching that. This is The Final Word.
Now, it takes a lot for me to get invested in a drama on TV, which makes it all the more disappointing when they inevitably seem to get canceled. I'm looking at you, ABC's Flash Forward. Well, okay, frankly, that one was axed for not getting very high ratings, but I'm also looking at FX's The Riches, a great show that had so much going for it. Starring Eddie Izzard and Minnie Driver as power couple Wayne and Dahlia Malloy, The Riches follows them and their children as a family of Irish travelers, con artists and thieves, somewhat similar to an American version of roaming gypsies. Living out of an RV camper, they have no permanent address, no official documentation, no lives on the grid. But when their traveler clan of relatives tries to force an arranged marriage on their teenage daughter Dee Dee, the Malloys steal a store of the clan's cash and try to run away. And while fleeing, they inadvertently cause a car crash that kills a wealthy couple, Doug and Shireen Rich. In a stroke of madness or genius, the Malloys decide to impersonate and become the Riches. But it's not so simple, because even though the Riches were new in town, Wayne has to learn to be a lawyer, the family has to adjust to a non-thieving, sedentary lifestyle. The Traveler clan still finds them. There's romance, betrayal, action. It was an awesome show, delving into the perceived notions, successes, and failures surrounding the American dream. Izzard was a tour de force, and the pace kept your heart racing as you wondered what would come next. And then it stopped. The whole thing just ground to an unresolved halt right after the second season. Why? Nobody in the cast or crew died. The series was very well received by critics. No, the show was an unfortunate casualty of fair industry representation. Like many other scripted dramas at the time, The Riches fell victim to the 2007-2008 Writers Guild of America strike. And while the second season had officially aired after the strike was over, the delays and corporate reshufflings that ensued made it unfeasible to get the show running again. Nevertheless, The Riches, in all its unfinished glory, is still available on Netflix. Ramel?
Thanks, Connor. Well, great shows like Smallville, Friday Night Lights, and Dawson's Creek definitely paved the way for teen programming with successful runs. And as the years have gone by, many teen dramedies came and went, but some just too soon. Take a show like The OC, a drama-filled program with great ratings in its prime, but as the seasons progressed, the ratings dwindled down and eventually cancellation. However, the show that I definitely missed the most actually lasted 1 season. Yes, you heard me right. The show I missed so terribly after all these years is Paul Feig and Judd Apatow's 1999 NBC ingenious dramedy, Freaks and Geeks. Following the lives of the Weir siblings, Lindsay, played by Linda Cardellini, and Sam, played by John Francis Daly, Freaks and Geeks centers around the life in Midwest during the early 1980s. With Lindsay and her group of freaks, Daniel Desario, played by James Franco, Ken Miller, played by Seth Rogen, Nick Andopoulos, played by Jason Segel, and Kim Kelly, played by Bussy Phillips, and Sam's band of geeks, Neil Schreiber, played by Sam Levine, and Bill Haverchuk, played by Martin Starr, the show introduces high school life with struggles of self-image, family relationships, and fitting in. After its cancellation in March of 2000, it was reported a fan-led campaign persuaded the network to broadcast 3 more episodes in July of the same year. NBC, however, did not air the episodes until late September of 2000, but as the show went into syndication, an additional 3 episodes were aired for the sake of the show's timeline. From there, a DVD box set of the complete series was released in 2004, and the show has had a cult following ever since. Now, I know what you're all thinking. Rommel, you were 7 years old when this show aired. And yes, dear viewers, you are correct. Although I may have been a youngin' during its original run, I actually came across the show coming into my freshman year of high school. At the time, I was having a tough transition moving into a new town, and it was so easy to relate to the Weir siblings that it helped me to become more confident in accepting my flaws and shaped me into the person who I am today. The complete series of Freaks and Geeks is also now available on Netflix.
And that wraps up the show for this week. Be sure to check out our website, Facebook, and Twitter pages for news and updates on all things entertainment. I'm Connor Fack.
And I'm Rommel Tadai. We'll see you next time.